Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the game of life. You know, there's so many games going on a weekly basis, whether it be football, baseball, all these different things. And, we'll spend time watching that and viewing that and giving our opinion on them. But today, I want to talk about the most important game, and that's the game of life. I'm going to be a little bit shorter today as I've got some travel plans headed out here in a few minutes. But, this is probably one of my specialties. One of the things that I really enjoy is more of a motivational type podcast. Yes, I want to always bring you value. Yes, I want to educate you. But today I'm doing what's really something I love to do is I've motivated teams, athletes for years. And today I'm going to deliver hopefully something that's going to get you excited about competing in the game of life.
Let's go! What up?
Let's get started. I've got 4 simple questions for you real quick, and then I'm going to give you some pointers in order to win at the game of life. And the first question I have for you, are you watching the game? When I say that, I see a lot of people that really and truly, they're just kind of watching life pass them by. They're really not focused on anything. They're just kind of like if you were sitting in front of a TV, they're watching the game of life go by them. They're watching it on Instagram. They're watching it on TikTok. They're watching it on Fox News, CNN News, whatever the situation may be. And you got to ask yourself today, are you tired of just watching the game of life? And you've got to be very honest with yourself, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you continue to watch the game of life continue to just flash by you and continue to go by you, you're not going to end up where you want to be in life. The second question is, are you talking about the game? See, I see some people that they'll watch a little bit of the game of life go past them, then they'll see someone on Instagram that is very physically fit. They get excited and they start talking about it. Man, what I'm going to do at the first of the year is I'm going to start hitting the gym. I'm going to start watching my diet. You know what? I'm going to start a business. You know what? I'm going to go back to college. You know what? I'm going to, and that someday I'll never comes. So are you watching life, or are you talking about the game of life? The third question I ask you is, are you playing the game? See, this is the type of people that they watched it a little bit, and then they kind of got convicted, and then they started talking about it, and then they decided to play the game a little bit. You know what? They went to the gym once or twice. They researched what type of business they want to start. They looked at a kind of nutrition plan that they want to follow. They talked about doing some date nights with their wife, and they talked about doing it. So they did 1 or 2, but they didn't continue playing the game. They kind of stepped back into this part where they're like, you know what? I'm playing it a little bit, but that's easier than this next question I have for you, which, are you playing to win the game? See, this is where you want to get to. You want to get to a point in life where you're not just playing it. You're playing it to win the game. You're playing it to be the best you can be on a daily basis. You're not here to watch it. You're not here to talk about it. You're not here just to play it. You're here to win it. Now, I'm going to give you some different pointers that I've used to make sure I'm holding myself accountable, and I am going to not only watch it, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm not just going to play it, I'm going to play it to win it. So let's get into a few points that will help you win at the game of life. Number 1 is get strong through adversity, be motivated by disgust. I could tell you so many different stories in my life that I was playing the game to win, and then adversity hits. So many things that I thought I could not control, just definitely hits me head on. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's part of it. What do? You get motivated by disgust. You take your shirt off, look in the mirror, and say, I'm disgusted by this, so it's going to be motivation. You look at your finances and you figure out your debt to asset ratio, You look at where your relationships are with your kids, with your wife, with your business owners, with your business that you're working, with your people that you're around on a daily basis, and you let that disgust be motivation. Next is perseverance produces champions that breed other champions, and to be a champion is a choice. This is something that I can tell you right now that once you get into that desire to win at the game of life, what you got to understand is that perseverance produces champions. And when you're a champion, your kids are going to be a champion. Your wife is going to be a champion. Your husband is going to be a champion. The people that you work with today is going to be a champion because champions breed champions, and it's your choice to be a champion. The next thing I'll tell you is your attitude determines how much of the future you are allowed to see. Your attitude decides the size of your dreams. No one has control over your attitude other than you. I'm big on attitude, and I hear a lot of people that they struggle with this, and something happens in their life, and they're always just go negative. And I'm going to tell you, there's going to be things happen in your life that maybe you don't look as good as a good thing in the moment, but you've got to do an attitude check and say, you know what, I may not truly understand that, but I'm going to control what I can control. You are the only one that's in charge of your attitude, and a positive attitude, a positive mindset will get you through the next quarter. It'll get you through the next play. It'll get you through to victory if you have a positive attitude. Next is shake off the distractions and always remember you're responsible for where you are and where you are going. One of the things that really helped me in my 30s make a lot of millions of dollars is that statement right there. Get rid of the distractions, get rid of the people around you that's not moving in a direction you want to move, and take ownership of where you are. See, I'm a real big believer that in order for you to go to that next step to accomplish greatness, you can't blame someone else for where you are. You've got to look in the mirror and you say, because of the choices I've made, the last 90 days, the last 1 year, the last 2 years, that's the reason I'm where I'm at today. And once you have the attitude of saying, I'm going to take ownership of that, then you're able to see the dreams, see the goals, and see what you want to accomplish in life. I shared a little bit in my first opening story about what happened to me at DFW Airport with a gun, and I want to share this story a little bit more in detail because it really relates to you taking ownership and what I call make sure you are responsible for packing your own bag. Some of you may have heard this story, but this is a true story. At the time, I was working for a nutrition company. I owned my own plane, and we just flew back in from South Texas to the ranch. And my one son was having a birthday party. And so we come home. My mom and dad's there. My assistant at the time, who was always packing my bag, he was actually out of town. So I come home. I spend time with them. I tell my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to fly commercial to Seattle to do a meeting. I'm going to go ahead and wear a suit and just pack in my backpack, put me in some gym clothes, some shoes, and I will go speak tonight, already ready, fly in. They pick me up, I'll speak, and then I will fly straight back tomorrow morning, but I'll just take my suit, fold it up, put it in my backpack, take out my gym clothes. I'll wear that home because I had like a 6 a.m. flight. So she said, okay. So she stuffed my stuff in the backpack, and I took off after ate dinner with the family and said happy birthday to my son and go to the DFW airport. And I had, and that's the key, I had TSA pre-check at the time. And so when you have TSA pre-check, those of you that do not fly light, you don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your jacket off. You don't have to take your belt off. Just put your bag on the conveyor belt. It goes through the x-ray machine, and then you're good to go. You grab your bag, go on about your business. It's real simple, real easy. It was a real nice feature. Obviously, I don't have it no more. So I put my bag on the conveyor belt, And I go on the other side of the x-ray machine waiting for my bag, and all these alarms started going off. And I'll never forget just thinking, why are these alarms going off? And I looked at the guy running the x-ray machine, and he looked at me, and I'm thinking, oh, dang, I've got a loaded 45 pistol in the bottom of my backpack. And about that time when I recognized it, of course, my hands was behind my back. I had 3 police officers on me, and I was headed to jail. And I'll never forget, right when that happened, I wanted to first blame my assistant, thinking, okay, because he was on vacation, it's his fault, because basically he would have made sure that gun was not in my bag, because he knew that I always had a gun in my bag. Then the next thing I wanted to do is blame my wife, thinking, man, Candace knows I always have a gun in my bag, and she should have checked and got the gun out of my bag. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? I can tell these police officers that it was my assistant's fault, it was my wife's fault, but they would just come back to me and say, this is your bag, and you're responsible for your bag. And the reason that story really means a lot to me, not only because I had to go spend the night in jail with Bubba, which is part of a whole nother conversation we'll get into one day, but I see so many people that they're going through life and they have their own bag, they have their own responsibilities, but because of their situation, they want to blame others for where they are. You, guys and girls, you are responsible for your own life. You're responsible for what you do on a daily basis. You're responsible for whether you succeed or whether you fail. You are responsible for the effort that you put into every day of trying to win at the game of life. Next is decide today to live an extraordinary life, not an average life. Why do people choose average? And this is always something that just blows me away. And this is the only thing I can understand is they don't like the pain. They choose complacency, or they have a victim mindset. So you got to tell yourself today that I am choosing to live an extraordinary life. I'm not going to accept an average life. And this is something that I tell my boys over and over. I demand excellence at my home, and whatever it is that we do. I don't know where they're going to go in sports. I don't know where they're going to go in life. I don't know what it is that they're going to accomplish. But when they leave my home, I want them to know that whatever you do in life, I want you to choose to be extraordinary. I want you to choose to be the best you can be and not accept for being just average. Next is believe you can, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't. Live by the principle, and this is something I started in my 30s, again, that helped me make millions of dollars. Live by the principle, do it now. Not doing anything today to help you get closer to your goals will add to tomorrow's burdens. Now, my wife, one day I'm going to have her on the podcast, and she knows all of my flaws and things things that, I'm not good at. And one of the things I was horrible at until my mid-30s is I was a procrastinator. I would have all these things on my list, and I would always just kind of shuffle them around, and most of the time choose the ones I wanted to do that day or not. And then starting in my mid-30s, I said, you know what? This is nonsense. All this is doing is adding more burden to tomorrow. When I have it on a list now, my principle is I'm going to do it now. If I think, you know what, I need to go do this, now I get up and I go do it right then. If you will live by that principle, if I need to go get a workout in, I'm not going to sit there and look through my phone. I'm not going to find a distraction. I'm going to do it now. If I need to make a phone call that maybe is a little bit of controversy involved, that's okay. I'm going to do it now. If you will live by the principle, I'm going to do it now, you're going to start competing and winning in the game of life. In close, I got a simple quote for you, and the reason this is one of my favorite quotes is when you're doing something great and you choose that you're going to not only watch the game, you're not only going to play the game, you're not only going to play it, but you're going to win the game, you're going to have people attack you. You're going to have people that's going to try to pull you back to happy hour. You're going to have people that's going to tell you you're too dedicated. You're going to have people that's going to say, hey, just live life a little bit. You're going to have all these people that's going to try to be a distraction. There's going to be a lot of people that attack you. There's going to be a lot of people make fun of you. There's going to be a lot of people that judge you. And the reason I love this quote is because at the end, when the smoke clears, the truth will be told. And here's the quote. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it. Ignorance may deride it. But in the end, there it is. So today, ask yourself this game of life. I got one body. I got one chance to have a strong faith. I got one chance to have the best relationships. I got the one chance to have the best asset to debt ratio. I've got one chance to be as fit and as strong as I can be. I got one chance in this game of life, and I'm not going to watch the game. I'm not going to talk about the game. I'm not just going to play the game. I'm going to play to win it. Go win it today here at the Hard Truth Podcast. Thank you for listening. Guys, we are definitely wanting you to follow the podcast. So hit follow, subscribe as the Spotify, Apple Music, our YouTube channel. Give us some support. Let me know some feedback. We are here to bring you value in life at the Hard Truth Podcast. Thank you, guys.
Let's go.